Hey everyone, welcome to The Next Level, a podcast from the Team Performance Institute. Here we provide actionable insights on modern leadership and team development, driving higher levels of organizational performance and life empowerment. I'm your host, John Sanchez. Join me and my team as we take you on the journey to the next level. Let's shift gears. So, you know, it is now 2021. Your injury, roadside, IED, 2007, you've lost your legs, you've come out of that, you went back to active duty, continue to serve, start a company, build Inspire. This is how we met, by the way. We're just both serving in a veteran event. We did an event locally here in Cincinnati to help out other veterans. What's life like for you now? Like how, this is such a success story. And I know that just like me reading your bio, it's nothing that you ever want read, but share with us a little bit about, what you're doing and how you see life now. And, as we're into this new year, what's life like for you? And what advice are you given? What's top of mind for you right now?
Right. There's a lot of things going on in our worlds, and so it's sort of that is a challenge. We're in the midst of a pandemic that seems to be tenacious as we try to deal with it as a world and as a country, and so that's certainly top of mind. I mean, I want to be personally responsible and do what I can to make sure that I'm being safe personally, and I'm being safe with those around me, and so that's important. Look, we just went through a peaceful transition of government, or you can say a quasi-peaceful or whatever. We're able to kind of transition our government, and those the concerns of justice and equality in our society are also kind of top of mind. I just I appreciate the question, because just being able to kind of I was an infant here in Washington, D.C. in 1966 when our country was trying to grapple with the very issues that we are still confronted with today. And in some ways we could say we've made progress, but in some ways I think we've not made progress, and maybe we've even retreated. But nonetheless, these issues have kind of bubbled to the surface, and I think they've bubbled to the surface because we haven't dealt with them. We've swept them under the rug. We've hidden them in our society, and so I don't know that we can will truly have the kind of peace and equality that we should live up to as a country, as our Constitution promises, until we do deal with them. And so I'm here in Alexandria, Virginia, and as I said, the inauguration, last week, Washington D.C. could have resembled the Green Zone in Baghdad a week ago, and so what is the state of our country that we are having to deal with those things? So those are certainly some thoughts that I have that are, as you say, top of mind for me. I think about the fact that my country asked me and asked my men and women to go halfway around the world to get two groups of folks, Sunni and Shia, that to stop fighting, to get along, to help us, for us to be an example of how to work together and get along. And we can't even do it right now. We're not doing that to the best of our abilities right now. And so that irony certainly strikes me for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 100%. Like here's you rose your right hand. You swore to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and literally gave your life. Gave your life 6 times where you went into arrest, came back. Thank God for all of us. Came, gave your legs, gave everything, and here we are. And it's frustrating. And I'm with you 100%. I think it's kind of embarrassing as a country to see where we are. I get the question often, what can we do? Like, from your perspective, how can we serve? How can we continue to serve this nation as opposed to sitting around and talking about it, complaining about it, trying to be the next loudest voice through whatever social media platform you want to, articulate your point. What is it that we can do? What is it we as a country, as citizens, can do to help better our country right now? What's your perspective on that?
Well, I think it's ultimately about. So first of all, I believe that the solution for us overcoming our challenges is to work together. This isn't about the party in power and one group imposing their will or their power upon the other, because it's leadership, and we just have to understand that we have to come together. The solutions that we come up with together are going to be lasting solutions. The ones that come from one side or the other that are heavy-handed and not built through compromise will not be lasting. And so I think folks like you and I and our military can serve as examples in our communities of working together and being coalition consensus builders. This is I don't want to create a solution that doesn't include everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I have all the authority or power or not. That's, again, it kind of goes back to, owning the problem. Do you want to own the problem, or do you want to share it and get everyone involved? And I think that's what we got to work on. So, but I'm grateful for the question, because it gives me a chance to share a little bit also of one of the things that a group of my classmates, and we actually have one Naval Academy grad, Nana, who's part of our team, to develop this diversity program. It's an app. It's a program, but it's an app that's for Android or the Apple products, called Diversity Pop. And it's an anonymous app, so it's something you can do on your own. But it's really kind of it's like first of all, it's a learning teaching tool. But I think at the most basic level, it's meant to form and create self-awareness. You go through the questions and you start learning, and you get to look at yourself in your mirror and see what your own biases are, and understand if you're being fair, if you're going to be honest with yourself, are you being fair? So it's a self-paced, you can drive it as fast or as slow as you want it, but it's at the corporate or at the individual level, we take time next month is Black History Month, and we do a Black History event, and we've checked the block on Black history, and we'll do Asian, and we'll do Hispanic, and we'll do women, but where's the sustainment in between that? Are we just, and so that to me is where this kind of program kind of fits in. Where's the sustainment? Because that's this, when you sustain something, that's when you grow. You don't,
Right.
you're not a, you don't check the block. You don't grow by doing anything once. You grow by, through sustained program and development. So
Sustained practice. I love that. And with, I love this app idea because I think if we were all asked independently, one-on-one, well, how do you see the world? Most of us think we're pretty good people. I don't have any bias. I don't have any thoughts around one gender or one race or anything.
right,
But when really confronted with it, and there's a lot of fun neuro tests you could do online, and now with this app, it really creates an awareness of, and it's not to be condemning of yourself, but it starts
no, right,
internally to say, really, let's challenge like my internal belief of myself. And we have cognitive dissonance that we believe that I see the world this way. And the older you get, and you and I are in that realm now, Greg, the older we get, the more we realize, oh my goodness, there's so much more out there. Our aperture continues to widen and broaden to realize that, I thought I was seeing it a certain way, and actually there's a whole different light to this problem and issue. But that part of awareness, and I do think that like working together is the key. Unfortunately, the voices have become so loud on the extremes that they can't even hear the other voices anymore on the other side. I think it's just it's that coming together to be able to, if you can't hear the other side, you've gone too far to your side, and you really need to come back and come to the middle. We're a beautiful country. I love this country 100%. I like you, raise my hand too,
mm-hmm.
defend it to the end. And I think we can make our way out of this, but I do think that leadership is going to be crucial and important in the primary difference. And as you said, that faith, family, and friends that brought you through. What the last part of what you said was, I'm still a soldier. It was identity. It was identity of who you were that really was grounded firm, and that identity helped pull you through. So we're still servants, right? We're still servants to our country. We're still servants to the Lord. We're still servants to our community, to our families, to our friends. And keeping that mindset helps push and pull us through, hopefully, to a greater consensus. I'm a positivist and a futurist by, those are two of my strengths. If you look into my, my profile, those are hard to have right now, being positive and being a futurist, because you said, like, when you got blown up, you couldn't even imagine a future.
Right.
There was no even, like, you couldn't even imagine what was tomorrow going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
What was the grocery store going to be like?
Yeah.
What was living with my family
right.
going to be like? But this story, I think your story, so impactful and yet so perfect for the world right now for you to share. And again, I'm just in debt to you for sharing your story, because it was a story of tough and brokenness, but also a story of light and truth, that if you do persevere, if you believe in the identity of who we are, that we can make it through, and we can become better, and we can move forward. I've stolen a lot of your time today, and I'm so honored that you did.
No, it's fun. The time flies by when we're just chatting, man. We get this, like, make love in here, but no, it's just really cool, kind of talking and sharing about life.
It's amazing story. Tell us a little bit about your company, so we can plug into that, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about the 50 people that you have working alongside you, or any endeavors, or anything that, how we might be able to support you and your efforts right now, Greg.
Well, I'm the managing partner. I started my company, Patriot Strategies, in 2008, kind of as my speaking platform. When I retired from the Army, I kind of decided, as I was retiring, I realized that the most important thing to me was my time and having control of it. So it's sort of, I kind of backed into kind of understanding that, I just, if I'm an entrepreneur or businessman, then I'm going to have control of myself or my time. And So that, that was what kind of drove me to take on my partner, another West Point alum and Army football player, Kirk Gutierrez. And so we are a service-based government contractor. And so we have done, like I said, we're a jack of all trades, master at a few, but we've done support to wounded warriors. We're involved in cyber training and cyber information assurance. We're supporting one of our contractors, Optum, that's executing the VA's community care network. So we're working for veterans that are supporting the VA. So, doing some, minor construction and restoration at some of the buildings in the local area, some of the federal buildings, like i.e. the FBI building. So we got a number of different projects, even doing some work on Andrews Air Force Base. So we like to be flexible and agile to work with different partners that we can be value added and be good teammates. I also like to kind of mention again some of the activities and boards. I'm a board member for the Gary Sinise Foundation. So any listeners want to support organizations that do great things for veterans, the Gary Sinise Foundation or Vail Veterans Program, the Simplify Fund, CODA Support or Hope for the Warriors, the Army Emergency Relief, are just a handful of the organizations that I'm able to touch and work with, and so they can always use your time, your talents, or your resources to make a difference in our community. So that keeps me with a pretty full plate.
Yeah, I'd say there's no slowing you down, Colonel Gadson. I absolutely love it. And for those of us who are mortal, we think, geez, how can you do everything that you do? But it goes back to our question of like, what can we do now? And what, there are boards that you can join, there are or organizations that you can be a part of, whether it's time, treasure, talent. We all can give in a certain way. And I think, Greg, this is something I found, unfortunately, later in life, is like when you turn that light on, the world becomes so much brighter, and the world just becomes so much. You get to meet and be around people that are just different in the way that they see life, and it enriches your life as well.
Yep.
I've really enjoyed this whole conversation as we were talking. For those, before we started, Greg said, "Should I shut my blinds in the back? Is there light coming in?" And as we talked, and as we went through
the sun is moving, right?
It was almost as if the light was shining on you, and it was like I'm like internally smiling and laughing because so much truth has been shared here, and so much of your story is inspiring. And I thank you for sharing some of the ways that we can support you. Greg is a speaker, a very, very, very. I've seen him in person, and he's part of the Team Performance Institute, one of our speakers as well. So if you ever want to get a hold of an incredible speaker, just give us a shout. We'd be happy to link you with Greg Gadson. I finish every podcast off with a question around leadership, and the question is pretty simple: is if you could go back in your life, if you could go back to a stage of your life, I'll put you back as after you threw your Army hat in the air. We call them covers in the military. And you could go to that guy and give him a little bit of advice, knowing where you are now, knowing where you're sitting right now. What advice would you give your younger self, knowing everything you do now?
Be present, be my best, and be at peace. Just keep it simple.
I love that. That's absolutely beautiful and brilliant. Great, simple concepts, as we know. And then along your beautiful journey and arduous journey, very difficult concepts to hold and to keep, right? If we could all do those three things every day, can you imagine the country that we would be? Can you imagine the world we would be? Be present, be my best, and be at peace.
Yep.
Well, Colonel Gadson, I can't thank you enough for being with us today and for sharing your story. We will get this out to all of our listeners, and very much looking forward to having you be an even deeper part of our world and lives. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's always a great time. It's fun.
Honored to be here.